Hey guys, Magnus Robert here, bringing you another video. Today we're going to be reviewing the Cirque de Springfield update. So of course this update's come out, I've played through all of Act 1, I've released all my premium gameplays for Act 1, both the Mr. McGreg and also the Burnsome with the Burnsome and Bailey circus tent thingy. So today, I'm going to be actually reviewing this event. We're going to be talking about, well, I'm going to be talking about my opinions on it. I think its strengths, its weaknesses. I definitely don't think this update is bad. I probably would venture to say this is a good update, primarily just because of the buildings and decorations. And I think the way that you can actually build up your circus, I really do like these updates, like the zoo update, for example, when you're able to actually, like, you know, build up a certain circus, or you build up a thing. That being said, I do have issues with something, and that's the fences. But we'll get into that whole thing in a second. We'll talk about it. I think I slowly go towards good, but it's only ever so hesitantly. Who knows, when the event kind of unfolds a bit more, I might change my mind. I definitely think it's possible for my opinions to switch, but so far I'm leaning on good. So anyway, let's go through it all. We're going to start off with the prize track, then we'll talk about characters, we'll talk about the structure of the event, and obviously in the prize track thing, and then we'll talk about the building and decoration showcase, then my overall feels. So let's get into it. Here is the structure of the event. It's your simple, bog standard multi-event, basically, where you have a mini-event repeated 4 times. Yawn. I'm getting a little tired of these structures. I do think this structure is a little weaker than past events, or past recent events. We haven't got, like, a trivia or a tappables, which I really do hope they bring back either the tappables or the trivia, because this update is the first now where we've got neither. And I know Red Alert didn't have tappables, but I'm okay with mini-events not having them. I feel like major events should have, like, tappables or the trivia or something else, some kind of interactive extra thing, just to kind of spice it up a little bit, because otherwise they just feel really repetitive. So I do hope that they add something like that in the next major event, but this update doesn't have it, which is another reason to say it's kind of bad, but I've still got, like, hope for the future act. So in terms of the structure of the first act, pretty simple. You have you have the circus caravan, obviously, was the decoration, the circus sign and circus fences as a combo. 2 decorations, you got the sign and then you get 10 fences, which I do think is pretty cool. You have the amazing smoking monkeys as the third thing. What's her name? Marguerite, is it Marguerite? Marguerite's wagon and then finally Marguerite as a character. So 1 building, 1, 2, 3, kind of, I guess 13 decorations technically, and Marguerite is a character, 1 building. Yeah, I think the first act is pretty damn strong. I quite like it, actually. I do think it is pretty good. Looking forward, if you're interested, Act 2 has also 1 building, 3 decorations, and a costume. Act 4 has 1 building, 3 decorations, and a character. And then Act 4, I do think, is the weakest. It has 2 buildings, 2 decorations, and a character. 3 decorations, sorry. Yeah, so Act 4 is pretty weak, but there is 2 buildings, which I think makes up for a tiny bit. I still think there should be a character or costume. It's really weird that Act 4s of, like, the sort of latest events from the last year or two have all, like, had, like, they've all been pretty good, like, the better ones, but they've always had, like, a really weak Act 4, and I don't understand why they do this. Just chuck in a character there, for Christ's sake. Or a costume. But, yeah, I think overall the event sort of structure is fine, again, apart from Act 4. I don't know why that's now to be expected, but for some weird reason it is. But, yeah, I'm okay with the structure for the most part. I do really miss the fact that there's no interactiveness, though, like the tappables or the trivia questions. Characters! So, this update actually has added quite a lot of characters, mainly because there's not as many costumes. Now, there's 2 free characters, and the rest are premium, which, again, just kind of Actually, no, it kind of speaks volumes to these events recently. So anyway, we got Marguerite as the one free character, and then you have the Cirque de Pure Ringmaster as the second free character. The rest are premium, unfortunately. You got Burnsome, I don't care for. The Dinger Ling Ringmaster, we'll have to see. The Human Donkey, I'm probably not going to care for, but we'll have to see. The Bearded Lady, Scuzzo the Clown, and Mr. McGreg is the super premium. Now, just to talk about the two that I have been able to get, of course, the 3 that I've been able to get. Marguerite, I think, is pretty subpar. I don't really care too much about her. I have something which I'll talk about in a second. I do think this character needs to be a costume, really, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Burnsome is in the same camp. I think Burnsome is worse, though, than Marguerite. At least one Marguerite's free. I think Marguerite has more interesting animations and also a more interesting quest line. So I do think Marguerite is better than Burnsome. And the Human Donkey's in a similar camp there, I imagine, anyway, but we'll have to get on to him when he comes out. And then also Mr. McGreg. Mr. McGreg, I actually quite enjoyed his animations, and his questline was okay as well, although I do wish we had a bit more of a showdown with Dr. Nick. I think that could have been pretty cool. But no, Mr. McGreg I think's okay. The only downside is, of course, he's super premium, and I'm getting a bit sick of super premium stuff. I do wish they would ramp them down quite a lot. Like, I'm cool with them having, like, a super premium thing now and again. You know what? At this point, I'd be actually happy if, like, next event we didn't have one, and then the event after that we didn't have one, but then the event after that we did have one. I'd be cool with that, you know? After the sort of trauma I've been given after all these super premiums, and me having to spend money every event, basically, just to show you off, because I do want to actually like play them and see if they're worth it. But no, I don't think Mr. McGregor is quite worth it, although I don't think he's necessarily a bad character, because I do think there are some redeeming qualities for him, because I think he's a funny meme character. Anyway, the big thing is, of course, I think this update's biggest weakness is honestly characters. I think really the update wouldn't be so bad if there were some better characters. And we'll get on to this. First of all, I want to talk about Marguerite, Burnsome, and the Human Donkey. All three of these really should be costumes. Not just because, I don't like doppelgangers. More so, it's inconsistent because we have Strongman Homer in the game already. He was added years ago. And Strongman Homer isn't a character, it's a costume. Therefore, these all should be costumes. I don't understand why they are so adamant to make these characters when I would much prefer them to be costumes, and I'm pretty sure the vast majority of players would much prefer these to be costumes. So it's just really odd to me as to why they've made these characters. They really should be costumes. It's very disappointing. It is a definite flaw to this event for sure, so yeah. Also, I do think there is missed opportunities in terms of characters. I'm fine enough with them adding the Cirque de Pure Ringmaster and the Ding-a-Ling Ringmaster, but like, it would have been awesome to actually have some more relevant and cool characters. Now, these guys are, like, I guess, relevant to this event. They're relevant to some of the buildings that we're going to be getting, and to some of the episodes that these, this whole event is based off. But, like, why couldn't we have some more interesting characters? Characters such as Eddie Muntz. Why not Eddie Muntz? It's really weird as to why they haven't added Nelson's dad to this event, because honestly, it's perfect. The first prize of the prize track that we get, the little circus, traveling circus thing, is actually from the flashback where Eddie Muntz, we find out, was actually a part of a freak show, and it works out quite well because they could have tied him in really, really interestingly to this update. You know, Burnsome is in town. He needs some new freaks. Maybe all the freaks have quit. You know, like Strong Homer and Marguerite. He needs some new freaks from Springfield. So then chuck in Eddie Muntz. I don't understand why they didn't do that. He would have been a perfect character for this update to chuck in. So that is like the biggest one in my opinion. I think like it's such a missed opportunity. It would have been like a reasonably big character to add in the game. And yeah, I just think it would have actually made this event a little bit more better, a little bit more special. But there's more. Cuda and Spud. I do think these two are like a missed opportunity as well. Especially since we've already got their ring toss game in the game already. Like, they added that with Krusty Land, which was really weird, but they didn't add these two guys, and they still haven't added these two guys. I definitely think they're high up on my list for sure, because they are, two pretty cool dudes. Now, I know they're in a carnival, and it's not necessarily a circus. They are kind of two separate things, but they're very loosely connected. I think there is definitely a way that you could tie these two in. Again, with the whole Burnsom thing, maybe Burnsom needs some people, needs people to run some stalls for him to bring in customers. Hey, you chuck in Cooter and Spud, tie them in, perfect. Job's a good one. I don't understand why they're like so. It feels like they're so like scared now to go outside of like the sort of strict characters. You know what I mean? Like, so they're basing this off like a circus update, but they're not willing to like kind of break out of those boundaries. They're just going for people who've appeared in these various different circuses that we've got. And I'd be happy for them to venture out. Give us Cooter and Spud. They're much more meaningful characters than the ringmasters and all these doppelgangers that nobody really wants. So yeah, Cooter and Spud would have been another like two really cool characters to get in this update. The Clown Doctor would have definitely been cool as well. He is quite minor, so I will say that, but he's kind of like one of Krusty's sideshows that's like showcased alongside Corporal Punishment and Tina Ballerina. So that's kind of part of the reason as to why I think he would have worked quite well for this. Plus, you already have the whole Krusty, in his different Soggy the Clown get-up, so it would have been cool to chuck this guy in too. This guy less so, but there is some more clowns that I think actually would have been quite beneficial, and that's the rest of the clowns from Krusty's little clown school thing. So I can't be bothered to like list all of them and like showcase a picture of all of them, but there's all these like different little clowns that appeared in the little clown school that he goes to, or the little clown traveling circus he goes to, the Dingaling Bro Circus. So you got the baby Boopsy, Mr. Boopsy, Mrs. Boopsy, the Boopsy twins, Bumpo, Krabby. You got Ding-a-ling there. You got Drooly, Fiddle Faddle, and there's a bunch more. There's a guy called Flip Flop, Danzy, Flapjack. I think that one's actually a Muppet thing. Maybe not that one. Seam Blow. There's all these different clowns that I think they could have really built up. And I think, honestly, if they based more on this episode and less on that whole Treehouse of Horror segment, I think this one could have been really cool. I just really think that focusing on that Treehouse of Horror segment with Burnsom and all those ones was a bit... I think it's a massive downer to this event, because you could have just focused on this one. Give us all these guys. Hell, you can still give us the stuff from the Treehouse of Horror segment, the buildings and the decorations. Just leave out the characters. Nobody wants those doppelgangers, and me personally, I wouldn't even want them as costumes. Just leave them out. Strongman Homer is enough. We only need one thing from that thing. From that episode. We don't need to have like the human donkey for Nelson and Marguerite for Marge and Burnsom for Burns. We just need one, okay? And that's Strongman Homer. If you really want a push, you can give Burnsom as a costume to kind of lead the event. I'd be cool with that, but really they should have played into the strengths, and that I think was definitely this episode. Such a missed opportunity in terms of characters. I think this update falls really, really flat in terms of characters for sure. Speaking of, I know I've mentioned it, Soggy the Clown is obviously an upcoming costume for Krusty. Pretty cool with this, I'm pretty happy with this. I hope it's good. I don't imagine it will be bad, so that's pretty cool. Then we have my building and decoration showcase. So as you can see here, you've got the little traveling circus thing on the top left there. You've got the circus fences. Oh, I forgot to actually mention about these. So I like the fact that they added 10 of them. However, 10 is not enough to make a circus, and EA knows that for sure. And the reason why I'm kind of leaning on bad for this update is purely down to the fences, because I like the idea that you can build up your circus. That's cool, but if you're gonna give us fences, make them cash. Jesus Christ, don't make them donuts. It's so scummy, in my opinion, to make them donuts. And I'm glad that they added 10 at least. That's something, but it's not enough. If you want to add them to the prize track and then add the rest, give people 30 at least. Alright, I don't even care. 30 should be the amount. I just reject the fact that these should be added to the store as for 2 donuts. I think it's a joke, because at the very least, you've got to allow free players to build up their circus. And even paid players, you can't expect them to, fork out a load of donuts to get some stupid, fences to build up their circus. And you're thinking, well, they're only 2 donuts. But sure, they're only 2 donuts. But 2 donuts adds up. If you want to make, a big, cool, awesome circus, that's going to be pretty costly when you buy like all your fences. So I just don't like the fact that these are premium. I think it's a massive disservice to the update. I really hated it during the Treehouse of Horror because they made the geriatric walls super premium. Sorry, not super premium. Made them premium as well, which I rejected as well. But on top of that, that update made the zoo walls that were previously cash donuts as well. So at least it hasn't done that. But still, I just hate the fact that the circus fences have been added for donuts. And yeah, you get 10 for free. That's cool. At least you do get 10. But let's be honest, it's not enough to build your circus. So I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I really wish they did not do this from now on. EA, if you're listening, which you're probably not, but if you are for some reason, please, if you're going to add fences or walls, you know, for the purpose of building up a certain area that you're adding to the game, make them cash. Come on, like, be fair, please. The circus sign is fine enough. I'm cool enough with it. Then you have this smoking monkeys little stand. I do quite like that one. I think it's kind of cool. Like I said, I think most of the decorations and buildings in this update are very solid, to be fair. Then you have the Marguerite's trailer. It's nothing too special. It's a bit weak, but I don't think it's bad. And then you have the circus, was it Burnsome and Bailey circus there, the tent. Which, yeah, again, I think it's fine. It's not bad. It's leaning on good. But that is the building and decoration showcase thus far. We'll have to wait to see the rest. Okay, so that is my opinions on the event, pretty much thus far summed up. Obviously, I will have my Act 1 and 2 review when Act 2 drops, and my Act 3 and 4 review when Act 4 drops, and my content list after Act 4 has dropped as well, where eventually you'll kind of see my developed opinions. So far, my sort of general, to kind of wrap up my opinions on this update, I think it's okay, alright? I think this update's fine, but it's a very kind of solid meh, you know? Not enough to say it's bad, but not enough to say, you know, not enough to say it's bad, but it's itching ever so close to bad for me. I think the biggest flaws, in my opinion, is one, the fences. I really do think they should be cash. I think it's a joke. It's a travesty. It's stupid that they are donuts. Two is the characters. I think the characters are very weak, and it's a real shame because honestly, I've not felt that any updates in like recent memory, definitely from last year and probably the year before, no like major updates have really had like a solid roster of characters, and it's such a shame because you know, there definitely are characters out there that are like, I think would make this update so cool. Like Nelson's dad, Cuda and Spud, you know, even all those clowns I think would have elevated it just a little bit. So, yeah, those are the two biggest flaws, really, the fence and the characters. And I think also as a third kind of minor flaw is the lack of interactivity, such as, like, tappables and the trivia questions, you know, something like that. I think that that's a missed opportunity, too, especially with the circus. You could have even had, like, a little mini-game added in, but I think that's too much effort now for Tapped Out. I think they're all mini-gamed out, apparently. They don't want to do that anymore, which is a bit of a shame. There were some issues, like some glitches and stuff with the update, but I think they've been fixed. It was one of those updates, we get it quite often, the glitch where you can't send characters through the little menu, you have to like manually send them to earn the event currency. That's annoying, but I think they've already fixed that, so I'm not going to nitpick that, really. Those are the three biggest flaws, but there definitely are good things in this update for sure. I think the buildings are, for the most part, very solid. I think the decorations, for the most part, are very solid. And I like the theme. I think it's a cool theme. You know, don't get me wrong. I was expecting something like a Black History Month or a Valentine's Day update. You know, some sort of annual holiday. But we got this instead. But I don't hate the theme. I think it's cool. I definitely like it. I'm trying to not be biased because I was really hoping for like some sort of annual update. But no, I do like the theme of this update for sure. I think it's good. I just really do wish they, you know, switched up the characters, made those fences cash, and maybe had some tappables or some like trivia or like a mini game or something like that. And I think this update would have been perfect. But alas, it's not. But anyway, tell me your thoughts on this update. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you like? What do you hate? How do you think it could be improved? And I shall see you in the next one. Thanks for watching as always. Goodbye.